Hi, I'm Kong, the writer and director of Sun. Welcome to the director's commentary. Since Sun is a short film, I'll be rewinding and pausing the film as I speak. I'll also be looping it back and forth. So, let's begin. So we start the film instantly, right into the movie. No titles, no intro credits. I wanted to leave some mystery into what the audience was going to experience in this world that we built. Right off the bat, we're introduced to Griff, played by Raymond Roberson. He was quite the champ in this film. So this scene here, it was a very interesting setup. We actually had to wait for the sun to get low enough for us to shoot, so we have adequate light and not too much light. But we also was rushed because at this point, this is March, so sunset right now is probably 5 p.m. And we had to rush real quick because we had to shoot the next fight scene while the sun was still up, and it had to be a sunset.
All right. Now you are pissing me off. Give us the bag and we'll kill you quickly.
Still not gonna happen.
And bam, we get into the fight scene, which isn't a fight at all because Griff just kills him in one stab. This shot here, we purposely shot it in silhouette, and this is actually our first silhouette shot. It kind of sets the tone to the whole movie. So this scene here where Griff kills the two bandits, it's actually filmed in a different area from the road. We wanted the sun to be directly in front of the camera. So we moved the camera probably several hundred feet away from the actual road, and they're actually falling on grass. So they're falling on safe ground. We move on with the beautiful composition by our very talented composer. His name is Eros Cartacini. Ironically enough, he found our short film on IMDb and he messaged my DP. And my DP sent me to him. And then I looked at his stuff and I was like, this guy is legit. Let's get him. And he did a wonderful job. So these two scenes here were shot on the last day of the shoot. It was definitely the easiest day of our shoot because it was just a simple dialogue. And ironically enough, it was cloudy. And I'm glad we actually shot early because just as we finished shooting, it started to rain. So throughout the whole movie, we actually shot outside a lot. And it was during the day, so not much light was needed, and we actually was able to move pretty quick, except for some scenes, like this scene right here. We had it light a little bit just so it will look a little better. We can actually see the actor's face. And then we got the next interior scene in the dining room, and then obviously the night scene. Now we're introduced to Truman, played by Jerry Matt Johnston. And he is a wonderful actor, a great person, real funny guy.
I don't want any trouble, old man.
Is that yours?
Yeah,
How long?
10 years.
25. Hungry?
Yeah.
Let's get something to eat.
So this dining room scene here was actually the very first scene we shot on day one. And I chose to shoot this scene first because it was the simplest to set up. And it was actually to get our bearings going into shooting this short film. It allowed our crew to, know how we work each other, which our crew, we knew each other beforehand. but then, each project's different. Ironically enough, this scene is actually the most difficult scene for the actors because it's the most dialogue. And this dialogue scene is very important because it actually is the exposition for what's happening in the whole world and explains everything that's happening.
I became one of them. An outlaw.
Throughout the entire movie, I purposely wrote it into the sense that I didn't want our audience to exactly know what was happening. So we didn't know what the incident is, which they mentioned quite a bit in this movie, and we don't actually know if they're actually cops. You just see a badge, so we don't know what they were. I didn't want to make people assume anything. I didn't want it to just be straight out. So I wanted the audience to actually think about the whole movie. So this scene, this actually showed you how much a professional Ray was. He had to work overnight in St. Louis before he had to come and shoot this scene. And he drove 4 hours straight to this location. And as he got there, like, we just told him blocking a little bit, and then bam, he just did it. And he knew the entire dialogue right away. And it was difficult dialogue, obviously. So this actually showed that Ray definitely is a professional.
The world has changed, but that doesn't mean that we have to become what it wants. Life is precious.
And Jerry Mack too. I knew he was good, but this really showed his acting abilities.
If you're still alive, then that means you're meant for more.
And both dialogue is very needed for the context of what's happening in this whole world, because we don't know why this is happening. We don't know why Griff is walking around. And then we don't know why Griff is who he is. And he's just a torn person that is running from his past.
Name's Truman.
And Truman is an optimistic guy who has seen a lot, and he definitely brings more spirit into the whole story and brings Griff into the whole world again.
If you want to, you can rest up here for the night. It is not much, but it'll do. Then come tomorrow, you can decide what's next.
That line right there, I love it, because he decided to change that line, and I was like, yeah, that works. Which he did a lot in the whole movie. I told him, I was like, if there's a dialogue that you don't think that fits properly, you can go ahead and probably change it, and if it works better, we'll use it, and that's what he did. And this next scene is very important as well, because it kind of shows that there's a bed there, but he doesn't want to sleep in it because he hasn't been comfortable in so long, and we don't know how long. So he decides to sit down and grasp onto his knife. That's something I kind of adapted from the Eastern style movies. Like if you watch some samurai movies, they kind of hold onto their sword all the time, and it's very important to them. And this was kind of the same concept. That's why later on we discovered that Truman's knife is very important to Griff. So this next scene here it was written kind of loosely, and that's what we totally did. There were some lines that was from the script, and there's actually probably 90% of it was the two just ad-libbing.
Yeah, well, had nowhere else to be.
Okay, well, you can be right here walking some of this lumber over there.
Lucky for you, my schedule cleared up.
And that little part of comedy right there was wonderful. That showed that they became friends, or they're becoming friends, and that was totally ad-lib too. So I really enjoyed the fact that they had a little humorous moment. So in this frame here, we had to zoom in a little bit because I'm about to spoil something that's probably going to ruin the whole movie for you guys. But on the left frame, the bottom, you see this shadow that is just kind of there. That's not a tree or anything. That's actually someone's car. And when we're shooting, our cam up was like, no, I don't see the car in it. It's fine. And then when we got in post, we saw the car. So we had to zoom in a little bit. And I was like, oh no. So now the cam up, me and a DP, we're the only ones who really know that we had to zoom this frame up. And this was probably the widest shot of the whole movie right there. So now we're introduced to Alistair, who's played by the wonderful Mickey Stone.
Truman. Old friend.
And Mickey Stone is a fine example of when they say you write a certain dialogue and you don't feel the dialogue is really strong, but when an actor says it, like, they make it sound so much better.
Griff, thought you were dead.
What do you want, Alistair?
We've come for a favor. Some of our people escaped. We could use
For
a
the
man
character
here.
Alistair, I didn't want him to just seem like a straight up bad guy. So there had to be a true motive of why he was asking for favor from Truman.
Think of the old days. We could rebuild again. Bring back the dream.
And that line right there, I love that line. This part right here, J Mac did it himself. The line he says is what I wrote, but then him walking up to Mickey Stone and saying that line just added so much tension between the two characters. And then you see his optimism right afterwards.
You can leave now.
And I just love that little part right there so much.
All right.
So I had to drive Mickey Stone and Jerry Mack down to the location every time we were filming. And after we finished, we're driving back. Jerry Mack was talking to Mickey Stone, and Jerry Mack was like, You were so convincing. I was super afraid of you when you said, okay, I see. And that face he looked, it was wonderful. So the fire in this scene is it's an actual real fire, but we did not use any logs at all. My special effects artist, he actually has a propane style mechanism that you can just light up and it makes it look like fire. And they put like cinder blocks that looks like actual logs there. And it was pretty cool. So this whole scene right here, they're being lit by the fire mostly. We have a little bit of backlights here and there, you know, but then all that flickering, that's from an actual fire.
As long as you're still not in
When he showed it to me first time, I was like, I heard the propane gas move, right? And I was like, does it make a lot of noise? And then he was like, you're the first person who ever asked me that. And that's funny because he's been in the industry for like forever.
wife and a daughter. They were taken from me during the incident. Yeah, even got this leg shot up trying to protect them. I was powerless to help my family. And I still regret that I couldn't help. It's getting late. We need to get back inside. You want to get a little bit of water from the well?
That knife stab to the wood there was completely done by Jerry Mack himself. After I saw it, I was like, we need a close-up there now. And I'm glad we did. So this scene here is real quick. And because it was so fast, I was telling my DP, I was like, let's just do 2 shots. One kind of wide and then one really close. And that's all it is. It's just that. And then boom. That's it. So this fight here goes real fast. And originally in the script, I had Griff like stand there for a second and hear Alistair's character scream at Truman about who Griff really is, and then that's why he attacks. But then as we were filming it, I was like, I think we should just do it, because I think he's in a rush to save Truman and he wouldn't stop. That gun muzzle right there is an actual muzzle flash from the gun. And when people say there's no muzzle flashes on guns, that actually proves that there is. Obviously, that's not a real gun that shoots actual bullets. That's just a gun that shoots bullets that just kind of creates the flash, and that's it. So when you look closely, there is blood on the knife. Originally, there's no blood on the knife because I wanted to make sure we kept things consistent and keep continuity as best as possible. And I was like, we'll add blood and knife in post if we need to, which is not the best idea to do. Also, when you see the blood flies from the actors, that's also visual effects. And it's dark enough for it to actually look really good. Regardless, my visual effects person was great.
There he is. The beast himself. I know you killed my men, because that's what you do. Never liked guns, though. Always knives.
Another fine example of Mickey Stone just killing it with the dialogue I wrote.
And never as fast as guns.
I love this part so much. Like, the accuracy of that knife throw is so awesome. That right there, that's an actual squib that we put into Mickey's pants. It takes a long time to put into it, and that night we were trying to go as fast as we can to keep the pace going because it was getting late. And so we only did it once. After the first take, everyone was like, did you want to do another one? I was like, let me look at it. So I looked at it and I was like, no, that's perfect. And so that's our only one take wonder in this whole movie. I love this gore so much. Oh my god. My special effects team is amazing.
Come on, get up on me. Come on,
So funny enough, Ray, he mentioned this way after we filmed and we're on other projects together. And he did not get dirty at all in this whole movie. If you saw dirt on his shirt or anything like that, it was because our wardrobe person actually put dirt on him. But like he was rolling around all night here. Blood was splattering all over the place, you know, where we had it. And he didn't get any on him. And I actually love that because I wanted Griff to be invincible. I didn't want him to like get hurt at all. I didn't want him to have struggle in battle. I wanted to show that he's just a fierce fighting machine. I love how Mickey Stone is just laying there with his hand on his face. And he just stood there for like, maybe we probably shot this scene in like 15 minutes worth. And he just laid there the whole time. I love it.
Don't live a life of regret, son.
That dialogue right there was very important. That was the one dialogue that I told J Mac that I was like, we have to have this dialogue because it actually ties into the whole characterization of the whole movie. Because that last word that Truman says, son, that's what tied into the whole movie. And that's actually why I titled this movie Sun. It's a Western, yes. So we see the sun a lot. And the sun creates silhouette of our actor. But then I want to play off that dialogue at the end when he says, don't live a life of regret, son. And then, you know, it's like they're father and son now. So it added more characterization to both the characters there. And that's the reason why this movie's called Sun. These last shots are just are just wonderful shots for all of us. I mean, like, I'm sure everyone loves sunset shots, and then when we're shooting this scene, we're like, oh my god, the sun is just working for us so perfectly. It's right above that tree that we use as a gravestone. Funny enough, this shot here, I was just crouching and I was looking at Ray's performance, right? And then after we shot I was like, I told my DP, I was like, hey, come crouch and look at this direction. I was looking right at the sun, so that wasn't the best idea. But he did it, and he's like, we're going to get a shot here too. So sometimes you get shots just by like looking at certain different angles, and you're like, this looks really good. And bam, there you go. So this part here, this actually proves that Ray is such a wonderful actor. When we were shooting, we actually did not know that he went into tears. I did not even tell him to do that. And I didn't know too. But then after we played back, we saw tears on his cheeks. And I was like, oh, dude. Actually, my cam op was taking a look at it. And he's like, dude, Ray busted a tear. And I was like, oh, really? I came look. I was like, oh, my God, amazing. And that's just like, oh, my God, Ray, you're going to be the next Will Smith. That's the end. We see the main titles, and then we go to our ending credits. I hope you guys enjoyed this director's commentary. At the very least, I hope you guys enjoyed the actual movie itself. We spent a lot of work into making this movie, and I'm very proud of my team and how hard they worked to make sure this movie was the best it can be. And until next time, guys,